don't think I've ever actually run from the police.
Good. Don't ever do that. Really?
Yeah. I was doing graffiti.
Oh, wait, where?
What?
Back home.
Please tell me we're recording right now.
Oh, we are. Yeah. No, I was. It was very early though. I didn't know like the police routes, so it might have been only my second or third week out trying to go out bombing. And
I'm sorry, bombing?
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, yeah. So you have like your name that you basically, it's your signature. That's a bunch of scribbles that most people see. That's called your tag.
Yeah.
It's called a tag. And then a step up from that is like the more robust, like bubble letters, a little bit of graphics, but still very quick and easy to do. Those are called bombs. Okay. And then you have the bigger ones that are like extravagant, 19 colors. Those take like hours and a few people.
How do you?
Those are called pieces.
How do you get away with it? Like if it's for hours,
like doing a piece.
Yeah,
a lot of times you'll hit a train when the train's parked, or like someplace like no one's gonna stop you at the train tracks.
Right.
Like there's no guards.
Right.
They're like, why would you be here? But a lot of times, like if you're doing it in a high traffic area, what you're seeing are bombs, and they're big, but they usually take a minute. You do your fill in, you bubble in the letters, and you jet. So.
So you were a graffitiing clown.
The part.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot you were a clown. I just really examined the buddy system sticker. I just figured out what was going on with it.
Oh, which one?
The B for Buffy.
Oh.
Don't know what the U is.
Jurassic
Ed and
Park.
Eddie. Fucking don't know what that is.
Hey Arnold.
Cartoon. God damn it.
No,
Cartoon
it's Snick,
Network.
actually.
Don't know which one that is. Don't know what that is. Don't know what the T is for. Cartoon Network still.
Snick. S. I don't remember what the Y is for. The S from that one is the Fox Kids, I believe. T is from Cartoon Network.
And then the M from X-Men.
Yeah.
Like I just realized that. God damn it! Who made the sticker?
He did, and I've jizzed all over those things. I don't like. I'm sure you remember when you made that. I lost my mind because it had this. It was perfectly subtle.
Yeah. Like, I just now fucking...
And when you look at it, you get this sense of nostalgia, and you don't know why. You get positive endorphins, and you have no idea why. It's brilliant. It is brilliant fucking marketing.
Like, I looked at it, and I just thought it was, like, fucking, like, when you murder someone...
That was the
kidnap
intent.
Someone.
That was the intent. Like, make it look like you cut it out of a magazine.
Newspaper, and then it's like, oh, but you didn't. Oh,
yeah, no, man. I believe the first draft that I made of this was called Buddy Ransom. Welcome to another episode of the Buddycast. We don't do this consistently enough because George sucks at things. So, welcome. We have, I'm sitting here with my good friend, Mr. Aaron Chase, and we have our very own personal Lil Saint, Mr. Jonathan Tynes. I just hope you don't die.
Is that his rapper name, Lil Saint?
Mr. Jonathan Tynes.
Can I be announced like that? Jonathan, a little Saint, Tynes.
It can be Lil, it can't be little.
Yes. Is that a rule for little rappers?
Yeah. Do you know how upset Lil Bow Wow got when you called him Little Bow Wow?
He was Little Bow Wow for a while.
Yeah, and he was like 8, and then he was like, yo, I'm 9 now. He's Lil Bow Wow.
And now he was like, call me Bow Wow.
And now he's going by his name.
Which is?
I fucking don't know.
Shad something?
That's
Shadid Rahim. I don't know. That's rude.
It's Shek or Shad? I don't fucking know, man.
Shankar Vedanta. No, he's on NPR. Oops. All right. Yeah. You guys live together. You guys talk all the time. I don't really know Mr. Jonathan Tynes, so that's why we're gonna do this.
I know him very well now.
First off, right question out the gate. How long have you been doing this, dude?
Not that. September, October, November, December. No, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 8 months.
8 months.
Or I guess technically 7 months since the May just started.
Oh, I guess so. Well, 8 months. We'll call it 8 months. You got to round up right now. And then you get to your career where you start rounding down because you realize that you suck. You're like, how long have you been doing this? 5 years. 5 years.
Do people do that? Like how good you were? Like you shave off a couple years?
I mean, you talk to enough people and then you kind of start getting the same answers. You're like, well, I've been doing it like 2 years, but I've been doing it for like 19.
I don't. I don't want to be one of those guys, man. God damn it.
But then you get to a point in your career where you feel like you're one of those guys, you know?
Yeah.
I've met those people that are like in transition to like, yeah, but like 8 years. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's been longer than that.
Like, I'm either going to do it for like ever or I'm going to stop doing it. But like,
do you have a number? Like
I'd
5
stop
years
doing
in,
it?
if I'm not doing this, I'm done. I'm going to go lay pipe. But like real
Lay
pipe
pipe.
as a plumber. 5 months?
I want to 5 more. I want to say like, I'm just fucking with the Velcro. I'm probably like, honestly, 10 years. Because you know that thing, the 10,000 hours thing? I'm a firm believer in that. So I'm going to give it or more hours than that if
How
I
many
can.
hours are in a year?
I don't know.
Shit.
It cannot just be, it's not 10,000.
I'm going to do this math.
Yeah.
Oh, also it's Shad Gregory. You were right.
Bow Wow?
Shad Gregory Moss.
Shad Moss, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Bow Wow.
All right, so there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. That's 168 hours a week. So you multiply that by 52. It's 8,736 total hours. So you multiply that by 10 is 87,000 total hours-ish.
So how many years would that be?
That's 10 years. 10 years, there's 87,000 hours in 10 years.
Yeah. If I put in that many hours and I'm still not good, or like I'm still not at a place I want to be, then I'm like,
Oh, you look at things so optimistically. I'm just going to stay at my mediocre level till all the good ones stop doing it. And then I'll rise to power.
wait until they die off.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
very-
much.
I'm very confident in 10 years you'll be fine. Like, you... well,
Yes,
you're-
Dad.
yeah,
Continue.
no. You're, like... I say it all the time. Like, you're gonna... Like, you're picking up all this stuff so much faster, and we basically turned the apartment into comedy camp.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you're gonna be fine.
Project Mayhem for comedy. That's what it is.
What is Project Mayhem?
Have you never seen Fight Club?
No.
Oh, well, I'll show you Fight Club.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to watch Fight Club.
Yeah.
And
Is
then
that what
relook at the flyer. And then
Is that what the club is called?
I'll just...
No, if I tell you, it's going to ruin it.
Yeah, just watch. It's one of those... Do you know the twists?
I know
Fight
the
Club?
twist at this point, but like, I don't know how.
Oh,
that
you
was-
don't know.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
So
well,
you
I'll
don't
show
know what... if Okay, yeah, you have to watch it.
Yeah, I have it. We'll watch it.
We'll watch it naked, and then we'll fight.
Yeah. Those are the rules of Fight Club.
It's weird. Fight Club. I always wanted to read the book more than see the movie because the books are just more interesting.
They usually
in
are.
a weird way. In a weird way.
You're pretentious.
No. Fuck you. It's like because the books are usually like it's like a TV show. You get more time to bond with the characters.
Yeah, and it's a different level of bonding when you're reading.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're by yourself.
And you get to imagine all this shit going on. It's cool.
I like it, but I don't like it. Like, it was hard for me to enjoy the Harry Potter books until the movies came out because it took too much brain power to
Yeah.
imagine what everyone looked like. And then I was like, oh, they already did it for me. Cool.
I didn't read Harry Potter till I was like in middle school.
Last week, got it. Got it.
Just graduated.
What, do you have a favorite book? Or
favorite-
book series? Or
Ready Player One, the book.
Oh.
I read the book.
The book's dope as fuck.
I
It's
love
such
the
an
book.
easy read, though.
It's an easy read because it's like it's already shit I'm pretty sure we're interested in, but then it gets dark in like the middle part.
Did you watch the movie?
Yeah. Oh, God.
It was fun though. It
was
fun.
a fun movie.
It was fun, but the
wasn't
back half of the meat of the story was gone. I
It
agree.
wasn't a book,
No, it wasn't.
or it wasn't like it was.
It wasn't
fun.
a story.
Yeah, it wasn't a story. It was just fucking It was Steven Spielberg being like, I can still make visually pleasing movies.
Yeah. James Cameron does the same thing. He's like, here's a story we've already told, but how about it make it look really beautiful?
I love Avatar. Though. I love Avatar. It's my favorite movie. You don't know about the book Ready Player One, right?
I've seen the movie. I haven't read the book.
So in the book, you've seen the movie?
Yeah.
So picture in the movie, his obsession for it turned up to 11. And then that girl that was in there, he falls in love with her through the internet. He never actually meets her until the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the middle of the book, she breaks up with him. And then he gets super fucking depressed. Like, he's like, I wake up, if I can do this,
Yeah.
I spray painted the doors black or
And
the windows
it's
black.
over a longer period of time
Yeah.
too. Like there's a few point where the other two characters that the Japanese kids, like they don't talk for a long time.
Yeah, the whole book takes over like a year and a half, I think.
If not more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very long, like all the character drama has been sucked out of the movie.
How he gets the quarter is not how he gets the fucking quarter. Like,
I don't even remember. I care very little about.
read the goddamn book.
I'm
good.
not going to do
It's
that.
so good.
It's good, but it is a very young adult read. Have you seen Starship Troopers?
No,
Oh, never mind then. I was
Really?
gonna I was gonna
I haven't
recommend
seen
that
a lot
book.
of movies.
Oh.
I love movies, but I just haven't.
All right, I'll show you that too. I have that too.
I'm more versed in my era because I can go to the theater and watch it.
Boys in the Hood. So I have to show them Boys in the Hood, Fight Club, and now
Starship
Troopers.
And then you can skip all of the animated ones except Marauder. That one was good. They got Rico back on that one.
Right.
Rico's Roughnecks.
I should write that down.
You're like Captain America with his little fucking book. Check that out.
What in a? I don't want to go too off, but like Captain America, the end of his story was amazing.
Yeah.
We will spoil it. We shouldn't even.
If you haven't seen it at this point,
it's fucking.
If you haven't seen it-
Sunday,
yeah,
it's a week later.
Okay.
it's such a spectacle that if you haven't seen it just to see it, it's like the fuck.
It also made 1.2 billion in a weekend. Who hasn't seen it already?
Like, you know when something's super popular and like I should look into it. It's like if you haven't done that with this movie yet, it's not my fucking problem.
And the Russo brothers even tweeted. They were like, "Yo, that spoiler ban has been lifted as of Monday. If you didn't see it over the weekend, that's on you." And I agree. I totally agree. Something of this caliber. But anyway, it is a fitting end to that story, especially because of just the Russo brothers story that they wanted to tell. Because they did Civil War, they did Winter Soldier, they did Well, they also did Thor: The Dark World.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, that's why I've only seen it once, but when you go back into the world of the Dark World, I feel like that's why that happened. They were like, no, there was a reason why we did all that stuff, like it's trying to retcon and fix it. But
it's so cool or funny that they couldn't get Thor right for so many years. They're just fucking throw Taika, whatever his
He's
name is,
so
at
good.
it. He's such a good director, but it's like that would have been my last choice on who's gonna direct.
Who's your favorite Marvel character? Korg. Korg is my favorite.
Yeah. That's starting to be a thing.
He's good. He's so good.
At the Van Nuys Comedy Club last night, Aaron, being a fucking weirdo for no reason, he was like, "Hey, well, if you had dinner with a Marvel character, who would it be?" And our server was like, "Korg."
Korg is a very good, like, it's like he knows he's smart, but he also knows that everyone dismisses him, and he's like, all right, I'm going to tell you this. I told it for you. No one's listening anyway. He's
like,
he's meek. He's got Caesar's for hands.
is that just a foreign thing, that type of humor? Because I know British humor is way different.
I think it's Tyke is probably South African or something, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
From New Zealand.
Is he?
I think so.
Is he a Kiwi?
I think.
He's fucking blokes. I think it's not a foreigner. I think it's like a second, not a third world country perspective, but not a first world country perspective either.
Yeah, he's from New Zealand.
Yeah, so I think it's just him being
Him?
Yeah, I don't want to say people dismiss him because he did Thor Ragnarok, but at the same time, like no one really knew who he was until Thor Ragnarok. So it's almost like his sense of humor is like, all right, well, I make good shit. Eventually, it'll happen, and then so that kind of leaks into all his work.
Those are all the best art. Those are all the people I want to emulate. Like Kevin Smith does that too, where he's like, I'm just gonna make what I kind of want.
Dude, I love Kevin Smith.
Yeah, his mentality on things is brilliant. Like. And that's what we saw at the Van Nuys Club, was a lot of, I'm going to say this because I think that most people are going, like, it didn't never feel from the heart, if that makes sense.
It wasn't something that I actually cared about. Maybe not the guy with the kids. I think anyone who talked about their personal
themselves,
lives,
yeah.
It was better.
Yeah. Yes. It was, I don't know, man, but
I think that comes with, I guess, skill. Not skill, but like, whittling away
self-awareness,
because when I feel like anyone who does comedy, when they first do it, they just talk about shit that they think is gonna be funny, and then they don't, like, humans are already fucking hilarious cartoons by themselves that you can just talk about yourself.
Yeah, I think humor is our mating call.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah, like laughter and humor is universal across cultures, and it does the same thing. It brings people together and develops rapport and relationships.
I think people look at comedians like characters. Like Bill Burr has a character and Louis C.K. has a character. It's because they like talking about themselves and like basically like going into detail about themselves. It's like watching TV basically. You bond with the character. And then what a lot of, I guess, not as skilled comedians do is that they try to be a character, but not in the same way.
They're trying to create a character rather than present themselves as the character.
Yeah.
How do I feel like you're in a very unique position in the sense that, like, you're your first year of comedy and like, you know, you can be on podcasts, you have mics at your ready, like shows, like you've been plugged into a very unique spot. Like, not just you, I feel like a lot of, I guess, your class, not that we're above you, but I've been doing it for a little longer than you, you know? So it's like, I've seen the group that you're coming up with, and you guys all have this unique perspective of almost optimistic opportunity, you know? Like, a lot of green comics now, at least in our area, very supportive of each other, very friendly, but at the same time, very real. Like, at least the good ones are very real, and the ones that aren't good don't stick around, so fuck them. Yeah. If you're my friend, we got you, but if not, fuck off, dude. Stop trying to smoke weed with me after the show. Get away. My question, as in a long-winded way, I guess, is like, how do you feel about the comedy scene for yourself?
Okay.
Oh, this would be interesting.
So, what I think now is a pretty recent thought, maybe concrete as so much as yesterday, is that I liked the scene here, but I didn't appreciate it. And then, because I was like, oh, like, I don't want to be stuck here. And then, like LA is like where the fish go to, like, you know, I don't know where to breed. I don't know where the fish go to breed.
They like throw up eggs on, and then I don't know.
It's like salmon swimming upstream. We're gonna go here to fuck.
Yeah, basically.
And then just dump all their sperm. Fucking
It was like LA's the hub.
Yeah, it seemed like LA was the hub and the place that you need to go to actually, because how you I forget who said it. It was either you or you, one of you guys.
You need better sources of information.
Where you were like, this is a good spot. Riverside's a good like spot to like get better and then go to LA, because that's where like the final shit's gonna happen. But then I go to LA. I also forget who said it, but like you guys were one of you guys said you were grateful that you guys got me first and not like some of the other comics, because then my whole perception of the shit would be different.
Yeah,
and it's like, now that I went to LA and I see what LA comics are in their entirety, just looking at them, like looking at from before stage time to stage time, and then looking at the culture of LA, it just seems like I'm pretty sure IE is gonna like, it's just gonna take like a couple more years till someone of importance is gonna be like, oh yeah, they're fucking like good, like they deserve to be paid attention to.
Yeah,
I'm like, because I believe that, I don't feel bad if I get stuck here, you know, because I feel like eventually we're too good to the point where it's like, why the fuck weren't you paying attention in the first place?
Like Brockhampton.
Yeah, like fucking it's so frustrating now that I think of it, because LA comics, they get on my fucking nerves because they're always on. They're never off. They're never regular people. They're just always like,
We should say that I do know a lot of LA comics, or people that would call themselves LA comics, that are legitimately good comedians. But LA's so saturated that there's also a very, I guess the IE is the same way. There's a bad taste in certain corners of your mouth when you think about LA comics. You think about always on actors, like, you know, it's like, hi, my name's Susan and I've been on this, this, and this. Like, bitch, we just walked in. Like, stop giving me your credits.
And the other side to that, the IE, there's this gritty, like, shady.
You guys all smoke meth.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but not till after the show, fucking asshole.
So, like, I know what you're saying about LA, but there's goods and bads.
Oh, yeah, because a lot of LA comics, they're entertaining, and I shouldn't say that they all get on my nerves. Just some of the people I've seen, and I shouldn't say they like
your recent experience.
Yeah, from recent experience, it's like Jesus, and they don't. It's like the IU scene is supportive in a way where it's like it's not coddling though. It's just like, oh, you had a good set, or this is what you could change, you know. But then LA is just like they're just watching you die, and like, oh well, if you get good, it's gonna like it's through your ability or your strength as a person. I don't know.
No, that's a good way to put. I think comedy's just difficult because there's you're not that we're at the same level, but in the sense of like, if you want to be a doctor, there's very specific things you have to do. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a lawyer, there's very specific things you have to do. But you're doing art, and it's like there's no one that can really tell you what your path through comedy is going to be. And so, like, in the sense of like, no one's telling you that there are also certain things that you have to do in comedy that's not clear to you until you've been doing it for a little while. Mm-hmm. You know, like I think, and so I guess I started. My first time on stage in Southern California, I think, was in 2012. So my duration is 7 years, but I'm active maybe 4, you know, going up more than once a week. Because it's hard to build anything if you go up once a week. Mm. I realize that now. I was telling people that I'm doing comedy. It was like I was going up once a week, and I want to shoot myself now because I feel like I lied to everybody. But I think you need to – I think doing mics, stay local. Like, why are you going to waste gas, you know, especially – people, especially in the IE before there was a scene, we were all like, fuck, we got to go out this far just to hit mics. And we weren't wrong because there weren't any mics out here, but that was like we should have started mics out here a lot sooner because no one told us like, hey, stay close to home because you're going to suck and you're going to eat big bags of dick and you just want to go home. Wouldn't you want that to be a 15-minute drive instead of a 2-hour drive to hate yourself? So,
people romanticize LA too much.
Definitely.
Like, it's just romanticized to the point it's like it doesn't even seem like an actual place. And then when you
Neverland.
And then you get there and it's just like
it's like walking down Sunset though for the first time. Like you hear about it and you're like, oh, that's Sunset, and then you walk down, and you're like, dude, this place smells like pee. Like that's the 3rd hot dog shop I've seen. This is dumb. No, I'm not going to give you $1. Stop scaring me in the bushes. Like, it's such a spectacle.
With all being said, I do appreciate stage time whenever I can get it.
Oh, yeah. Any stage time is good stage time, unless you ask certain other people.
No, like last night was good stage time. It was perfect stage time for me personally.
That's because you looked the best.
Well, that's
because you did good, you fucking asshole.
But it makes me, like what George is saying about staying local, I think is really smart. Every now and again in my head, I'm like, there's other vibes out there that I might be missing. And so I get concerned, like, what if my jokes don't work anywhere else? And then doing it at the Van Nuys show, I was like, no, it's fine. We're good.
Something that I'm still learning, like I know, but I'm still learning, if that makes sense, is that, fuck, I lost that train of thought. God damn it.
It sounded important.
Right.
Something you wanted to...
A life lesson I learned that's going to help me for the...
Oh, yeah. It was, a comedian at one of Stephanie's shows is that, or no, it was you, I think, that you were like, if you can get a group like this place to laugh, then you're gonna be okay in another room, like an actual room, because like they're set up to be easy.
Oh, we're talking about open mics versus book shows.
Yeah.
Okay, so that if you can make the Hideaway, if you can get everyone in the Hideaway to pay attention to you and laugh, then when you go to do the Ice House, when you're booked there, it's like it's nothing because they're all paying attention to you.
I forget some of my material is good sometimes because like I don't get to go to a lot of book shows. But then like anytime I went to Stephanie's shows and I got like even a couple laughs, I'm like, okay, so it has. But if it wasn't good enough to make the whole room laugh, it has the potential, so I could just work on it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's you can pick up bad habits just doing open mics, but I think it takes a while for a lot of early comics to realize that like open mics is not what you're doing. Like that's not comedy. You know, that's doing bench presses. That's you putting a rep in. That's you figuring out your word flow and your overall presentation. But you're making comics laugh, and that's not your point. And so mics, I feel like a lot of times, especially when I was going, they felt like a show to me. Like, oh, I have to make everyone in this room laugh. Whereas like everyone in this room is a comedian. Like, they're going to laugh at something different than regular people are going to laugh at. And then if you go into a regular show with that mentality, you usually eat a lot of dicks, because I did constantly. I just kept doing, I had those bad habits. And, you know, I think, who was on your show that was their first time at the Ice House? It might have been Hector, I think. Hector was saying, like, yeah, I forgot, you know, that this is fun and that his jokes work. Like we all go up 3-4 times a week bombing, and then go to a show and you're like, oh, this is what you mean by taking the weights off and running. Like, it's so much, it's like a Piccolo thing. You're like, oh, just fucking
the heavy helmet.
I'm a fucking killer.
Heavy hat. I'm calling it the heavy hat.
That's all you fucking know about Dragon Ball. And that upsets
I know
me.
that. I know you cut off fur tails. I know.
Why do they do that?
It's to stop him from going ape shit.
Okay.
And then I know that people are Aryan.
What?
They turn Aryan when they become better than everyone else.
Okay.
Because racism. I know.
Why are they green-eyed then?
Why do they have green eyes? Because they're Saiyans, and they're not humans. Anyway, so anyway, no, but that's what I like about our open mics, is that it's not all comedians, for the most part. We're still working out some of the other shows, but
I think Thursday and Tuesdays are like the actual audience rooms.
yeah. And then Wednesdays are improvising day, and Mondays are dealing with each other.
Yeah, I think it's a good, like, you're working different muscles at every show. Like, I don't think everyone should go to every single one, but at some point, hit every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hit a Monday, and then the next week hit the Tuesday, because it's different. And I think versus, like, entertainment industry in LA is very actor oriented, like, very, like, here's my audition, here's my set, and, like, so when fucking managers and producers and auditions are like, don't be funny, you know, they're talking about actors. When actors try to be funny, it's gross, it's weird, it's like, stop it, dude. You can cry on command, do that, stop trying to be funny. Whereas, like, in the IE, the entertainment industry is a lot different. It's a lot of, like, no one's gonna put us up, so let's fucking do it ourselves, you know. Like, you see that with, like, the Alt Black podcast with Tony Asar and whatnot, and those guys, that Black Noise crew out in Pomona. It's a lot of, like, fuck, no one gives a shit about us, we'll do it ourselves. And
Punk rock.
yeah, it's very punk rock, but it's very supportive as well. So I think we maybe me, I might just be projecting on everyone. I think I might have taken for granted the Inland Empire as a whole in terms of what it offers my career and entertainment in general. It's very supportive, you know, even if it's fake. Like, actions speak louder than words. Even if you want to be fake, if you're going to repost my flyer, like, that's dope.
Yeah.
Thank you. You didn't have to, you know, even if it's self-serving, cool. It serves me too. Like, awesome.
With the actions speak louder than the words, something popped in my head is that for some of the guys, I didn't like a lot of, like, the guys who come around, I didn't like a lot of them until I started hanging out with them more and seeing, like, their core as a person.
I want to ask who, but if you want to keep that,
okay. I didn't like Belgian for the longest time.
Really?
I didn't.
Why?
Because of just, it was more visual. Because
he looks like
you hate his shoes too.
No, it's
because he looks like he should be at a rave at all times.
I projected my own shit on him. Is that, like,
yeah?
Because if I dress too nice, it feels it's because I'm self-conscious and I want to be looked at better. And he dresses very nice, so I just projected that onto him.
Yeah.
But then I actually started hanging out with him and actually being around him. I'm like, oh, he's not that bad. But what solidified that he's cool. Yeah. Is that when he gave you the Fresh Prince and the Jazzy Jeff thing for your birthday?
Thanks, Beltran, if you listen to this, by the way. That was
cool.
really fucking cool.
I was like, what is that? Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit. He's like a cool guy.
Yeah, that's why we started doing this podcast, was because we couldn't get to know anyone because we were always busy running shows. And when we had Beltran on, he's fascinating. He's been to jail so many times. He's been to jail so many times.
Yeah, he was legit like, yeah, it's the first year I haven't been locked up. Like, what?
It's like, yo, you ask him about his fucking jail stories, please.
Or
do
just
it.
listen to
or
the
just
podcast.
listen to the podcast. I was enthralled. Like, he's fascinating. He's a fascinating person, and he's another one who's getting better. Like, you can see it. You can see this. Like, I was saying it last night. He's starting to do physical things, like little subtle, like the
he's doing a lot of act outs now.
Yeah, a lot of really.
Cool. He's finding his stride.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. So. Yeah, I can he no offense, Beltran. He definitely can come off douchey, like cocky, and then as you get to know him, he's like a really humble, sweet, hardworking person.
very, very in love with the craft, and you can tell.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just trying to get better at this, dude. Like, he doesn't have time for anyone else's bullshit, and he's just like, fuck it, I got to go to the marquee tonight. Can we not talk about this right now? Like, I like it.
Was there anyone else you misunderstood?
Anyone I misunderstood?
We can use this question to dive into your favorite question.
Oh, my favorite question.
Anyone I miss? Anyone else? I know there's someone else. Probably. It was probably one of you guys I miss. I think it was you, George. I didn't have a good idea of who you were.
Nobody does. It's fine.
He likes it that way.
So must beware of the quiet man.
Yuck.
No. Okay. I'm just
no. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Like because there are quiet people that you're like, oh, you're just scared of everything. You know, very timid, very like in the corner and uncomfortable. And I am a lot in the corner and uncomfortable, but it's like I'm fine with it. Like it's I've been this for so long. It's whatever.
George is Dick Cheney.
Whatever.
Yo, shit.
George is fucking Dick Cheney, and I'm George Bush. I'm not. He can be humble all he wants. No.
Fucking mastermind.
Yep.
It's all. I mean, I don't. I just don't know what I'm doing. You know, I think people think I know what I'm doing. I just don't. I just hope for the best.
But you fall in the most eloquent way.
What do you mean?
Like you know when you fall upwards.
Sure.
Like
okay.
you're saying you're failing, but like anytime you've failed or failing, you just kind of.
I don't know. You just do what works. You know, it's like comedy. That's how I treat my life, kind of the same way I treat comedy. It's like, do I want to do this? Okay, I'll do it. What did you misunderstand about me? I'm sure you thought I was an asshole when you met me.
No, he is.
No, I didn't think you were an asshole. I just kind of thought you were there. If that just to be there.
Oh, like I was doing all the work and he wasn't?
Yeah,
that's what most people think.
And then I looked at it and I was like, wait a second. Yeah. This is switched.
Well, fuck you. I do things. Hold on.
No, I mean, not in the...
Yeah, he was your ride here. You better fucking watch it, dude. You're going to have to catch an Uber.
We have different strengths, and people just don't realize how much... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't know what your strengths were.
Me either.
So I was like, fuck. Say that.
And
then I look at this goddamn sticker. I'm like,
dude, that's like 3 days of work, though. Dude, and just like
the fact that I don't think genius is just from like, this is my first or third idea. Genius is like when you know something is there and you keep going at it, and then you eventually have it, and then you not perfect it, but like sharpen it. That's genius.
Don't you feel like that way about jokes though? Like there's a sound, you're like, there's fucking something in there.
Yeah.
Like I can smell it.
If with a certain subject, I'm like, I know there's something here because it's interesting to talk about with people. So there must be something there. I just gotta find what I find interesting and trying to make people think it's interesting.
Yeah. That's your job as a storyteller. You know, put the person in that story and make it interesting to them. If you could do that, you could do anything.
Yeah.
Very Randy Jackson in the sense of like, if you could sing anything. I was like, yeah, I agree. If you're funny, you could be funny pretty much anywhere, as long as you know how to do it.
My favorite question. Who's the most underrated? Who do you look up to the most? Who in the IE or that is around our scene? Who do you feel like doesn't get enough respect or enough shout outs?
Michael Thompson.
Why?
Because of how fucking funny he is. But I like.
How much you got?
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. How much is it? How much you get?
Michael Thompson's a fucking natural.
I have that Disneyland pussy. That Disneyland pussy.
His mumbling.
Pixie Dust doesn't smell like Newports.
Why do you think he doesn't get enough?
Because, fuck, man. Anytime I ask people, like, oh, who's your, like, favorite amongst us? It's always Michael Thompson, but I never see people. I don't know how to articulate it. I just don't think he gets enough credit.
Yeah, he's really fucking funny.
I think that's self-imposed though. Like I think he should get up more, and that's the problem.
Like him, KJ.
You think KJ's underrated?
No, underrated. No, KJ is very rated. I think we all know KJ is a comedic guy.
I mean, all right, hold on. Let's.
If he's a comedic champion,
he's very good.
Yeah, he's very rated, but I think Michael is like
underrated.
He's very underrated because he's so. Michael has a joke to where it's like, whenever I think about that, and I think about it so often now that I laugh because it's so fucking. I want a joke like that, but he's so good.
Yeah, I know Michael for a while. Like he was at Flappers with me too back in like 2016 when you were taking over the Hideaway.
Is that what was happening?
Yeah, I mean, he not just Flappers, but like that's where I met him was at Flappers Claremont, and so I've known each other. We've been around. Same with like Juan Cias, and I think one of his first times was at Flappers as well. So Flappers was a good hub when it existed. Flappers Claremont, it was cool. It was like the punk rock comedy club of like, yeah, they don't like us here, but they signed a 2-year lease, so we're stuck here. Like,
fucking yeah, Michael. He's a different type of naturally funny.
What do you mean?
Like, KJ is like it's
polished.
It's he learned to be funny, but it was just a natural progression. He was naturally talented at it. I feel like Michael is naturally talented at writing.
Yeah, he's got this very unique ability to just write in his voice, no matter how ridiculous the topic is.
Yeah, man. Fucking.
You're like,
he's a rat.
Yeah. See? And you get it. You just fucking get it.
It's the way he's just how rough that R is.
Mickey's a mouse, but Chucky's a rat. We're just burning his fucking material.
I know. I'm sorry, Michael.
Sorry, Michael.
So fucking funny.
We just love it. It's good.
So fucking.
It's good.
I'm like, he's so.
I don't even think you could burn it because every time he says it, it is always fucking funny to me.
Yeah. As long as he's not too drunk. Michael Thompson's the perfect, like, drunken boxing kind of character where it's like, you got to get that perfect level of liquor in him, and then it's smooth sailing. Too much, though, you fuck the whole ship up.
I want to see. Why? I wish he could. I want him to be able to do it without alcohol, though. That's
he
what I want.
gets too nervous.
That's upsetting to me.
He gets so nervous. Like, he gets very, like, in his own head. I'm like, dude, you're funny, dude. Just kill it.
I think that, Michael, if you listen to this, for realsies, he's been telling me recently, like, dude, you got to slow down. Stop hosting every show. Yeah. And he's right.
You got to slow down.
You got to stop doing it.
Is he our Joey Diaz?
Yeah, he's our Joey. He's our Joey Diaz. But he's been telling me recently, like, you got to, like, stop, man. You got to focus on yourself and take a break and all that stuff. And I've been taking what he's been saying into consideration, and it made me feel much like you hosting this past Thursday. It gives me a second to like, okay, now I can focus on myself. And so because he gave me that advice and I've been taking it, nigga, take this advice. Fucking work on this without having to drink. We can drink afterwards together. Like, you could still drink. Just wait till after you're set.
Until you did that rat thing, I didn't realize how distinctive his fucking voice is. Rat. Oh my God,
he does it with such a cheeky grin, too.
Yeah.
Just like, you're not gonna laugh, but it's funny.
It's so fucking funny. But yeah, man. I wrote this down. Okay, what was your perception of the IE when you first came in versus now?
Like, it's a nice jumping pad. Like, it's not.
How did you find the IE comedy scene?
And
then answer his question.
I guess through accident. It's so funny. Oh God, I did an open mic once, and I was just like telling people, like, I do comedy, man. I did an open mic. I was one of those guys.
Yeah.
I did it once, and then I said it to my boss. He's like, "Oh, there's an open mic here on Wednesdays. You should come." And I was like, "Fuck, okay." Now they're gonna expect me to come, so I have to come. And I went, and I got a laugh, and I was like, "Oh shit, I want to keep doing this." And then and I just looked up mics in the IE, and then the Hideaway came up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go to the Hideaway. It's like down the street from my job." I went to the Hideaway, and then I talked to you. And you're like, here's a card, man, just so I can look us up and blah, blah, blah. And so when I looked up the Buddy system, I saw all the shows. So I'm like, I'm just going to come to all of them. And that's how I found it.
Oh. Cool. So something worked one time. Great. Awesome. I don't know how the rest of you find us. Like, it's weird. We're such a niche.
Us yelling at them on the street.
Probably.
So yeah, perception of the IE in the past versus now. And I have another question after.
Oh yeah, it was the IE. I didn't feel like home base to me. Like it was like, or it was home base, and that the other spot was a place to go. This was level 1, but now this is it's just like this is my area. I am an IE comic, so yeah.
Okay. And what were your previous misconceptions of comedy before and now? Like, it's nice to hear because you're still new. Like, when I try to go back to when I first started, it's hard to remember, but you're so new at this now, and you've learned so much. So,
wait, what was the question?
What were your previous misconceptions of comedy before versus now?
That it was supposed to be like you were either funny or you weren't. Or like you can't get better at it. You have the same quantity of funny your whole time, your whole life, and you just go into that more once you're better. You can't exceed that, or you can't like deplete that. You're always gonna be that funny. But now, like my friends, when I hang out with them, sometimes like you're funnier now than when you used to be. I'm like, oh, cool. That's fun.
I think that's a benefit of me having doing it so long. It's like I've genuinely started to enjoy watching people figure out how to get funnier because there's. And I'm not going to drop names while we're recording. I'll do it later. But there are people that started that I saw that I'm like, do you fucking suck?
Tony Ross.
Like, you fucking suck. There's someone different, I'll tell you guys.
Really?
Like, he fucking was awful. He would show up to flappers, and I was like, you should
stop.
I
know who you're...
And now I'm like, dude, you're so fucking good. Like, it's complete opposite end of the spectrum.
I know who he's talking about.
No,
I don't.
You're not.
No, you're not. You're not.
Doubt it.
I know who he's talking about.
I doubt it because not a lot of people have the perspective that I do about this kid because I remember this kid's very early set, and I'm sure he thinks the same thing about me because he's told me like I've done an older set in front of him. He's like I like watching that set come together and what you've made it into, and I was like, okay, that means it sucked in the beginning. That's what you're saying. But yeah, so watching people get funnier and figuring out and realizing that like it is a skill. It is. It is something that you can build upon, and you're not beholden to it.
I didn't know it was a skill. I thought it was just a talent.
Yeah. You can start with more talent than other people, but until you realize it's a skill, like you don't realize that it's like, oh, I just got to work, and I can just keep getting better.
Yeah, and I just thought that like you showed up, and then you eventually like grow into yourself,
which is not far from wrong either.
Where was I?
I have more questions whenever you're ready.
Another misconception about comedy is that I forgot.
Really dig into that mic.
Right.
Get it close.
Okay. You ready for another one?
Yeah, man.
All right. What's the most important thing you've learned in comedy so far? Like the most important specific skill?
Most important skill I've learned so far.
While you think, I'll answer that question because I don't know if I've ever answered out loud. It's persistence. I've learned that it just, even when you don't want to go up, those are the times you probably should go up. You know, it's like you just got to persist and keep going and keep doing it because when I wasn't persistent, I was bad, I was awful, and I would say it would get worse between sets because then now, you know, there's so much more pressure built up because I've only done it once in the last 26 weeks. So I've learned persistence in the face of adversity, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, I agree with that's my answer.
Well, I'm gonna say mine then.
Just keep going.
I can't wait for you to listen to this podcast like 5 years down the road. I'm fucking dumb. Like, oh my God, why did you guys have me on it?
I guess the persistence, I agree. And then the other one is authenticity and like just being yourself. Don't try to be funny. Like that was the fucking key for me, is like, just don't try to be funny. Every time I got up there and was being, remember the guy who was doing the kicking last night? Okay, so context.
Boo, I'm mad I missed this.
Yeah. Dude, it was funny-ish the first time.
Yeah, so this guy had I don't know if you would call it a tick or catchphrase movement, but he was like a Jim Carrey, very like, hey everybody, I'm talking, and he was like a carnival type of
he's a character.
Yeah, he's a character, and he's very on, and he was able to ride the energy of that. Like he made it through his set. He made it through his set because there's so much energy that it just didn't stop, and so you couldn't get bored by it. I mean, he's moving around, he's doing all this stuff, and it was smart that he did that because he didn't bomb. But I think that the jokes were lacking in substance, and I used to do that. Not the exact same way. It was in my own little weird way, but I used to be like, I'm fucking, hey, everybody. I think you were around during a lot of that, right? Yeah.
Probably.
Just like, everybody look at me. I'm telling jokes and being funny. And now it's just be you. Like, that's what makes you special.
I changed my answer from George's answer to a nugget of your answer. Is that, but I'm going to change it. You don't have to be outlandish and raunchy and disgusting to be funny.
You used to be horrifying.
I listened to a past recording of myself and I'm like, Jesus Christ, how the fuck did I say that? Like, you don't have to, don't try to be funny. You just write what's funny to you and make people think it's funnier.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of little checkpoints early on in your career. I sound so pretentious when I say that. I haven't even hit 10 years, but it's like, I view it as a career, so that's why I call it that. But very early on when you start comedy, you have to figure out that shock doesn't mean funny. Shock doesn't equal laughter. It can, and more often than not, if you do it in the right way, it will. But it's hard to sustain anything off of that. And then after that, you kind of realize that, all right, cussing isn't necessarily funny. Not that you have to be vulgar, but that like if your punchline is fuck, it's not a good enough joke. And then past that, you start building that scaffolding. And eventually, you work your way to just be like, all right, what do I like? You burn away all that, and all that's left is like, all right, what do I find funny? And then that's where you kind of just find your stride. Like we said, like Joe Beltran's done as of late, and the last year and a half, I'd say he's really found his voice. I really am excited for you to listen to this podcast about yourself later, because you're like, you are in such a unique, like you're less than a year in, but you get to have your thoughts right now, recorded, and you can go back and find it and be like, all right, what did I think when I first started? What do I think now? And I'm a little jealous of that. Like I have the first time I went on stage, but I don't remember like why I wrote those jokes, how I thought about things. I just know that it's going to be played at my fucking funeral after I kill myself.
I'm jealous of him as well.
Jealous of me?
Yeah, because you are surrounded like, it's gonna make me sound like back in my day. Look, we used to have to figure the shit out on our own. Like no, but people weren't helpful. That's the reason why the buddy system has the vibe it does, is because people weren't helpful, and the whole point was like, all right, well, let's make a community that's helpful. And so you're in a community that's helpful, and I don't think there's many of those out there, so I'm very jealous.
I said, I've expressed this many a time, is that, not many a time, what the fuck am I talking about? I expressed this once, is that, for one, if I didn't get that first laugh, or the first couple laughs while I was doing it, I'd probably quit. And if I didn't have the information I have now, I'd be dog shit. Like, if it wasn't as supportive, I would be disgustingly horrible.
Yeah. Michael Gonzalez said it, that he, like, what especially with podcasts, like Rogan's podcast, Bill Burr, if you find comedians you like and you listen to their podcasts, you're essentially going to get a master class in comedy. Mm-hmm. What works, what didn't work, and why. And I think it's a great time for comedy. Like, it's going to make so many people better. You get to learn from the greats without ever actually having to meet them, And what other point in time will you be able to get that kind of information? Black belt level, masters telling you, this is what I did and this is why I'm doing it. And it's like, so, yeah, I want to watch you explode all over Aaron's face. But
just come over tonight. Hey, Jonathan.
Yeah.
What's your joke writing process?
The process?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be, I sit in my living room and I pace back and forth and talk to myself for basically an hour, and then get what's funny and true, and then make it better, and then I write that down. But now it's become a lot more chaotic and frustrating and hard. just because my writing style has changed, but the way I do it hasn't changed, and those two are not meeting yet. Does that make sense?
No.
It's changed, but I have not yet accustomed to the change.
Oh, okay. It's growing pains.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
I don't know how to write as well anymore just because my style of writing has changed. So I don't... I'm starting to figure out that I need to take long walks and, again, talk to myself because I stopped doing that for a while. Where, like, I get a punchline or what I think is a punchline, and I'll say it over and over and over again, trying to figure out the inflection and how I should say it or what words I have to change. Yeah.
What would be advice that you would give your 8 months ago self?
That's a good question.
And for you too, Aaron, like what would be the one chunk of advice? Like you get 10 minutes to talk to yourself, you know, and then you got to go back to the future.
Fuck.
What
I'm
would
so stressed out.
What would be the nugget of information that you're like, dude, just figure this out and you're golden?
Be comfortable to write garbage. I think that's the main thing I'd say. Like, if it's shitty, and you know it's shitty, don't be afraid to even just try it out. Just be comfortable. Because I used to, like, the only reason it took me so long to write is that I would write it, and then I'd scribble it out, and I'd write it, and I'd scribble it out, and I'd write it, and I'd scribble it out. Well, now, I write something, and then I'll play with it for a little bit, and if I don't like it, I'll just throw it away. Like, I don't get... I don't grasp onto an idea. I just, like, it's bad, bad, bad. I don't let myself write garbage. I didn't let myself write garbage.
Like write just everything. Just
Yeah. Just write everything and see if it works. And if it doesn't, change it.
Write everything. Okay. What are you, Aaron? What would you give?
How long ago, self?
Beginning, like you're going to start at what you would conceive as the beginning of your comedy career. What would be the advice that you give yourself?
Be single. Like, no, bro, be single, be alone, and think about yourself. That's what I would say, because I don't like when people are like, I have no regrets. It's like, go fuck yourself. I hope you have some regrets, because if you don't, then you're not willing to learn anything. What's up?
What was your joke material, but when you first started?
George, how would you describe it? Not when I first started, but when you started seeing me?
I would say that he had a set that he thought was a joke. So he would have a 3-minute set with like 6 different topics, 9 different possible punchlines, but he would deliver it like it was a joke. So it would have the rhythm of like set up, punchline, but over the course of 3 minutes. It just took forever to get to.
Yeah.
So now it's a little more concise and he's a little more focused, and that's all it took, really, just a little minor adjustments of thinking, I think, how his sets are in his head.
Yeah. So that's what I tell him, is just be, because the thing I was just saying about authenticity, just be yourself. Like, that's what makes you unique in this weird world of comedy. We were watching last night, and I know they were all different people, but there was, at no point was there a rat moment. There was no like, moment of, oh, that's this, he's completely different from these people. And I don't want to jerk myself off too much, but it feels like, I feel like what I was talking about and how I was talking about it was so drastically different from everybody else. I don't think it could have even been compared.
You were chilled the fuck out. You were yourself. But Mr. Jim fucking Carrey kicking his fucking leg in the air. Like, Jesus, man. I know that's not you in regular life.
If it is you, like Daryush was a good example. Have you met Daryush yet?
No.
So he's a comedian who is crazy. He's like that guy, but even in a weird way. And that really is him. Like, he's not all, he's just weird.
But, like, even alone, not, like, it's
he's
just
weird. But he's himself. If that was, and you can tell that really isn't him, but if that was himself, then sure, fine. But it's not.
Okay, so does it work for Daryush?
Sometimes.
I think he needs to hone it. I haven't seen him much recently, though.
So if it works for him, then that must be his authentic self. But because Mr. Jim Carrey, it was like, what the fuck are you doing this whole 10 minutes?
Yeah.
I don't think that's... somehow humans have an innate way of just like, this is authentic. This is real.
Yeah, they can feel it.
Body language, yeah.
Yeah.
It's over the course of, 2 million years you figured out, oh, that person's dangerous. I probably shouldn't go over there.
And it's like, I don't get why people not lie on stage, but
it's what they're. So if I were to talk to myself from when I was 18 or 19 doing it, it would have. If you were to talk to me then, the mentality would have been, I want to get famous, and that's where they're at. Like, it's this desperate need for attention, and when you do that, you're doing anything you can to please people rather than express yourself. And so, because of my mentality then, it was like I wanted to prove people wrong. Everyone told me that I sucked, that I wasn't fun. Like, I think I told you this, right? Have I told you that? Nobody ever supported me?
Something like that.
Like, so my family was like, don't do this. Stop it. Get away. And then my friends in theater, I was the lowest rung in improv. Nobody respected me in theater. Nobody respected me in film. Nobody respected me in writing. No one respected me. And so then when I got to college, I had more respect because nobody knew who I was. And I had gone through all of this shit and been working out at all this stuff. But then, I still was trying to please people. So there was still, people could feel that, and they don't respect you when you do that. And then time went on or whatever.
When you're just cool without attempting to be cool, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And that took me forever to learn because people were so unsupportive. Like, when I knew, like, oh, I know I can do this. There's this weird this gut feeling of like, I know I can learn I can do this. I know I can. But when everyone around you is telling you you can't, like, I'm not even everybody, not and so what would end up happening is, like, I would stumble into a person who would be supportive for like a moment in my life. They would be like, oh, here's a little nugget, here's some breath. And then you get a little better. And then it goes, and I'm like Dewey Bratcher. Did I tell you about him? So there's this guy in San Diego who, he booked me for my first bigger shows at Ace's Comedy Club.
Oh, the Irish thing?
No. But either way, he was just supportive. And like, I was around him for maybe a month or maybe 2 months consistently. And in his being supportive and him seeing like, oh, this kid has something. I grew. I got a little better. But then he did his own thing and I went my own way.
I think as soon as you have someone to believe in you, you're like, I believe in myself.
Yeah, basically. So I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. But I have more questions if you have more. Oh,
I want to say the reason I chuckled halfway through that story is because I just thought of Michael Thompson said again. It's funny.
This is actually might relate to that. What's your favorite joke that you have, and what's your favorite joke of another comedian in our scene? But you can't use Michael Thompson because we've already burned all his material.
My favorite joke of me?
Yeah, for yourself.
Probably my faggot one. I like that one a lot.
Why?
It's because it feels clever to me. Like no one else would have been like faggot, baguette. It just feels like no one would have done that. So I was like, oh, that feels nice.
It's like Jack Pelkey's Socrates bit.
No.
Oh my God.
That's my favorite.
So what was your mentality and how did you make that joke and how can you recreate it?
I don't even fucking remember how I made that.
Sounds like a lot of weed.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure. I remember coming up with the joke. I was at work. I was like just walking back and forth doing my job, and then it just popped into my head. Faggot. Just how it sounded.
It's funny to you?
Yeah, I laughed and I was like, oh fuck, okay. That was my favorite of mine. And the favorite that I've heard
of another comedian.
Do
you have one, George? Another comedian's joke that you're like, that's so fucking funny.
Oh, actually, I do. Someone had Frankie Oy's crying in the car. Yeah.
And the hand motion.
Yeah. It's so Frankie. It's so like, that's great. I don't care if you guys don't laugh at it. I love that bit.
Yeah. Mine is, do you have one? You still thinking?
Give me a second.
Mine is Ezekiel Echevarria's Malcolm in the Middle. Because it's it's so concise. It's perfect to me. It's beautiful.
I guess my favorite would probably be your Mike Tyson bit.
It's so dumb.
Just because your impression is so good at it. I'm like, fuck, that's great.
I wanted to get better at impressions. I think that's a skill that I'm lacking. Not when I need to be, though. Like, not on stage. I can't. It's easy to do an impression of, like, someone we know or, like, you know, when there's no pressure. But it's like, can you do it while, like, 40 nobodies are looking at you? Like, is different. So, I want to build that skill, that impression skill, if that makes sense. Yeah. You clicked it like you had another question.
I do.
Go.
What is your favorite part of doing stand-up comedy and being a part of this community, and what's the worst part?
My favorite part about stand-up comedy? Like the actual, like, doing it?
Just stand-up comedy. What's your favorite part? Is it watching it? Is it writing? Is it being on stage? Is it after being on stage? Is it right before being on stage? Is it talking to people about it?
I would say writing and the community of it. Like,
why?
Writing, just because I like writing, and my favorite part of stand-up is when I have like oh fuck, this is good. Like I feel like I have something. That's my favorite part. But then the community, or like, one of the reasons I got into comedy is because I just wanted to be around comedians. Just because it just felt like a cool group to be in and be a part of and around. So I was like, even if I'm not good, at least I get to hang around people that I think are cool. And then, yeah, if I was in LA, that would have stopped being my favorite thing.
That's fair. What's the worst part?
Worst part.
George, you're also welcome to answer this.
The worst part for me, I think, is the worst part of the entertainment industry, is just the egos that you deal with. Like, I just don't have time for that. Like, if my brain was 10 marbles, that's all I got. I don't have time for your bullshit. Don't take my marble for your fucking bullshit. Like, I don't want to focus on you. I have 9 left now, and you're wasting my time.
It's an interesting way you look at it.
Yeah, I think people have 30 marbles. I only think I have 10, but I try to squeeze as much as I can out of that 10.
You have all the best fucking marbles, apparently. Jesus. The worst part is so small, but I hate it. I hate it when people are like, "Oh, you do comedy? Okay."
That condescending.
I was like, "Oh, you were good." Like, the condescending, when people are condescending to you, it's like, fucking you do it and see how you feel about it.
I just stop telling people.
It just randomly comes up for me because they'll see my Instagram. They're like, man, you do comedy, right? And then they're like, oh, I'll go see you one of these days, man. Like, oh, if you're not funny, I want my money back. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Come to a free show then.
Yeah. Don't pay.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, when is your show? It's on fucking Instagram. I give you the tools. You go find it. It's not my problem.
I hate stupid people, too. They're like, where's the show? Right there. What time? Also right there.
I just say, look at my Instagram now. Like, I don't have the time in my day.
So you don't actively tell people like I do stand-up comedy?
Not anymore.
I do.
Like, I just
do it.
It's because you like people jerking you off constantly.
And I'm working on the business side of this promotion. So I figure, like, I'm going to hear that over and over again. I've heard it, whatever. It's fine. Let them say their dumb shit, and then hopefully they'll come.
Here's a joke for your little skit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I heard that.
Oh, shit.
How are your comedy skits going?
Yeah.
You're using the word skit wrong, man.
Oh, God.
So what do you talk about in your skit? Dude, I will blow my brains out right here.
Yep.
You gonna tell me a joke? Tell me a joke. Tell me a joke right now. No. And people get offended when I say no.
Well, give me a little taste. Maybe I'll come check you out.
Shut the fuck up. Oh, God. Piece of shit.
I want to hang myself every time somebody
And it's
asks
frustrating because they don't know they're being assholes or condescending. They don't know they're being annoying. They think they're being like, this is fun. They don't understand, so it's not their fault. But also, fuck you.
Where do you think you'll be in 5 years? Where do you want to be?
Comfortable. Where I want to be in comedy is I don't need to be a Richard Pryor. I don't need to be Eddie Murphy. I just want to have like, oh, he's funny, and then be able to live off that. That's where I want to be.
Yeah, I just want the respect of my peers. I think if I can have other comics go, yeah, he's funny, then cool. Cool. Then I'm on the right track, and eventually I'll make money off of this. Even if not, like, there's other things I'm doing that'll help pay my bills, but I would like comedy to be one of those things.
Like, I want to be comfortable enough to where I could be like, oh, I'm coming in tonight. Can I get a spot? Yeah, sure, because you're this. And I can pay my bills off that.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time.
We got time for like one more question. Oh, I do want to answer the question before that we skipped over my answer because you guys hate me apparently. The advice I would give my younger self is that it's not that serious. I used to dress better. I used to like do things, but that was because I had one show a week. You know, it's like it was a big deal for me, and it was a big 3 minutes. But it's like the moment I stopped, I was like, I'm just gonna go in jeans and a t-shirt. Like fuck it. Like I stopped taking it seriously. It was where I started relaxing and finding my voice. And it is a loaded like, don't take it so serious, because I also wanted a lot of fucking admiration and different things that I was coming, but it was because I was just, it's too serious. Like I'm gonna steal Brink's line of like, comedy is what I do and not who I am. Like I know I'm funny, but I do comedy. I also do other things, and I would like to be as good at that as I am at comedy, or vice versa. So that's all. It's not that serious. There's other things in life. But yeah, go. Last question.
If a new comic stumbles onto this, what advice do you have for them?
Quit.
It'd have to depend on who they are. Like if that Jonathan White guy said something about fucking, if it was shock value, I'd be like, you don't need to.
Which one's Jonathan White?
The not white, the light skinned black dude, jean jacket or his pins on.
Oh, you have that hat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What did he? What did?
No. I'm just if he was like that. What I'm saying is it depends on who it is and what they're doing, for me to be like, here's what I could tell you.
Okay, then as a more general question, if someone were to say, I want to get into comedy, can you help me? What would it? And that's all you know. What do you say?
Write jokes for right now, set up and punchline.
What's a setup and a punchline?
Okay. You want me to try to explain that? Or
Yeah, I'm curious.
Fuck, I never had to articulate this. This is weird. Setup is like,
if you can't teach it, you don't understand it.
The setup is the information that you need here's the information, and then the punchline is, I don't know how to explain that. All the information you need is the setup. The punchline is something. And then you have a couple of those. You can tell a story, setup, punchline, information nugget, write jokes, and go.
If I didn't know about comedy, I would have no idea what you were talking about.
Or fuck all that. Just come as much as you possibly can. Like if you have time, use it. Just fucking go as much as humanly possible for you. Because then you'll eventually you'll get it. Without my dumb ass trying to give you fucking advice that I don't even understand.
Yeah, when they ask me, can you help me? I go, nope.
So, God, it's so weird fucking saying this. May 6th at the Comedy Store.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. I have no fucking business being there. But comedy store, belly room, doors at 7.
I'm so excited to talk to you about it after.
Yeah, same. And then, another one on the 26th, yeah?
And the Anaheim House of Blues on the May 26th, same time. Is there a back room at the House of Blues?
I've never been there.
I'd probably be in the back room. But, 2 shows that I have no business being at.
Dope.
But somehow nepotism wins out.
What's your Instagram?
Jonathan _Tynes, Tynes.
Can they find your information there?
Yeah.
Your show information on that dope ass flyer?
Yeah, man.
Aaron Chase, where you at?
The Ice House on the August 25th at 7 o'clock.
Ooh, so you're gonna come? That's a far away. So you got fresh material ready for them come August 25th, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Dope, dope. What's your Instagram? What's your Twitter? What's your Facebook? What's your Grindr?
Aaron Chase 91.
Any underscores? One word?
Yep, one word.
Dope.
Must be nice.
We're downtown Riverside. 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week, depending on what that week's looking like. If you want to check out our shows, we're at the Buddy System CO, pretty much fucking everywhere. So check us out. Any closing statements, guys? Any shout outs? Any Tynes you want to holla at?
I think we've said a lot of people's names. So I think we're good.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Check us out. We'll talk to you later. Bye.